never knew.
You never knew.
That's like the best baseball conference, arguably. And I just remember throwing like 2-0 fastballs to like Matt Wieters, who's like been a big leaguer for 10 years. And he just fucking like lines out to the second baseman and it's like a 90-mile-per-hour fastball right down the middle. Just like hit the shit out of it, right at someone, caught it. I'm just like, as I was putting the season together and I knew I was onto something as we were like halfway through. I'm like, bro, our stats guys were like, you're leading the fucking conference as a freshman in the ERA and shit. And then that almost was like bad. Like I almost preferred I didn't because then I started thinking about it and shit. But then I had just had, like I started, I didn't know anything about awareness or anything, but I remember having those thoughts. I'm like, seems like everything's bouncing my way. You know what I mean? Like, not, like my point is, yes, I was very good, but I can pinpoint times that like, that was an average pitch. Like that literally could have been hit over the wall. That could have been a 3-run home run, and the ERA is not toast, but like I was a closer.
Yeah.
So I would come in the end of the games to, last few innings if we were winning.
Yeah.
Or if it was close.
And just bring the juice.
Yeah, just bring the noise. But like my point is I had like 60 or 70 innings. I think the minimum for an ERA record is like 50 or 45. So some of the starters have 100 innings, So I wasn't the highest inning guy on the team. And the point is like, one of those guys just, if that ball just was hit at a hot, like it's a game of centimeters. Like if you hit a baseball, it's like a game of centimeters where if you just hit that in the gap, these guys score, who knows, they score 5-6 runs, no ERA, no All-American season.
That is true.
And like, I was just like, why? I remember thinking that, I was just like, man, this is just what I do. I'm lucky, like this is how this shit is. I remember thinking that. And then all the luck changed. I never pitched again. I right before the next season, my elbow starts barking, which it was interesting that the way the timing was because in baseball, if you commit to college, you're not draft eligible until after your junior season. So like I couldn't be one and done because I would have been. So like I have that All-American year, but I'm still there for 2 years. I can't go to the draft. So the next year, my elbow starts bothering me. And they're like, hey, let's just play this safe. You know what I mean? Like they did an MRI. They're like, maybe could need surgery, but if you rest this and rehab this, you're fine. We'll redshirt the sophomore year, play next year, you could be draft eligible. Redshirt the entire year, chill, I'm rehabbing my balls off, fucking in the mirror, practicing my pitches.
Yeah.
Shit I've never done before, because I've never been on the sideline. I never had any idle time. And sit out that year. Junior year comes back around, we're like, all right, let's do this shit. Pop. Now I'm out for 16 months from there, and I just sat out last season. So from having an All-American year.
Did you get surgery once it popped?
Yeah, then I needed surgery. So I have the surgery, and I'm out for at least 16 months or so for Tommy John, usually more like 20. So from being a guy who never missed a game, I was like the guy who just pitched like in high school, never came out of a game once. I started and finished every game I ever pitched. From that to just sitting around, I literally sat and twiddled my thumbs and watched all my boys play. And it's crazy to think back, I didn't even know about the mental side of sports. Like as you were saying, like completely ignorant to it. And it was crazy what that idle time did to my confidence and just my overall approach to the game, like to competing. Started looking at everyone like, why is he having success? What's he doing? Well, he's doing good. How can I do that? And I'd be in the mirror and doing the shit I can do. And it's just like all that sitting around, it got up in my head. And it was like all about, instead of being in flow and not thinking, bro, I didn't think about one thing. I just run out there and throw it as hard as I could, past people. I challenged them. Like I never was like, is my foot landing here properly? Like, is my arm working the right way?
Just grip and rip.
Yeah. And after that, I never was the same. And, had issues with my recovery and was like the first time where I really had a true hardship in my life. It was sugar. I was fucking on the yellow brick road. You know what I mean? Like everything was just flowing at my feet. Up to that point in my life, I'd never been challenged with a true hardship. And then basically my entire identity was kind of lost through that time. That was where I had that realization. Again, I wasn't really even very versed in any of this stuff. So I was just, what I can say looking back is I did stay positive. Like I remember seeing it in my parents' face. They were just like sad. They were sad for me. Like
Right.
all my boys were getting drafted who I was like better than. You know what I mean? And I'm like still like in a sling, like, you know, trying to figure it out. Like, and then I come back and pitch and I'm like a fucking C- version of what I was. Just not even the wing, like my arm didn't even work the same. And I want to say a lot of it was mental. Like I felt like, I was like, oh, my arm's not as fluid anymore. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like became this like, this whole thing. But thank fucking God, man. If you told me, like I have a lot of guys on here, I've had some fucking 100 million guys on here. Christian Yelich, these guys who fucking generationally rich from playing baseball. And if you told me I could be them, I'd say, keep it.
In what way?
I'd keep it. Like I have no interest, you know what I mean? Like what I've gone on to do in my life and the experiences I've had in the past 7, 8 years, I could die tomorrow. I really could. I'd just be like, yo, I sent it. I had a blast.
Die young, die hero.
I had a blast doing this shit though, really. Like, I wouldn't feel the same if I made 100 million and I died. He was a Hall of Fame baseball player. Like, my thing is, my personal truth, from what I know and my experiences in my heart, I like this. I like doing this shit. I like being free. I like, you know what I mean? I like just like, what is like, there's a quote, like, you know what you know. I don't want to keep doing what I know. I want to keep, like, that's the interesting part. That's
right.
what, bro, I have why this is the You Never Know podcast. My biggest part of my branding is YNK. Because, like, my whole story is like, bro, I didn't even know I could make music.
You ready?